Hello, my babies! So, I'm gonna try a brand new kind of video today. You'll see that I'm talking in the video, but you're hearing a voiceover. And that's because, as you can probably tell, I'm sitting on my balcony filming this, which was a mistake, because I live next to a highway in Los Angeles, no less, and it was very, 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 very loud. If you watch my Snapchats, you heard some of the things going on while I was trying to film, so that was a total bust, but I still want to recover it because I liked the way that the makeup came out, and I feel like you could still benefit off of it and maybe learn something, or hopefully still be entertained by the voiceover I'm recording at the moment. So let's get into it. I am obviously putting foundation on my face at this point. It is NYX's Stay Matte Not Flat foundation. I got this last year through the Face Awards, and I don't get to use it much because the palest shade is still not pale enough for me, but believe it or not, I've got a fake tan on in this video, so I can actually wear this shade, which is the lightest, and it works for me. I use a beauty blender to put it on. It is damp. I had dampened it before I went out onto the balcony, but I prefer the beauty blender because I feel like it gives the most airbrushy kind of coverage. You can definitely achieve the same kind of look with a brush. I just feel like it takes a little longer, and I'm all about making things speedy. This is kind of an everyday look for me. I wouldn't do the colors that I do in this particular video every day. I usually go with the neutrals, and I did like a more colorful purple eye, but this is kind of the basic go-to look for me, at least for the last few months. I change up my everyday look every so often because I get bored. But yes, that's what we're doing today. This is me putting on my face. It's all real exciting so far, isn't it? Now I am going to lay brows. Some of you may have noticed I don't have brows on already. And most of you probably know that's because I do have eyebrows, but they are very, very blonde. They're not gone. I did shave them once not too long ago just to see what it was like. No one even noticed because they're that invisible anyway. But the hairs have actually grown back. They're there. You can kind of see them there a tiny bit. And I'm using a brow gel from NYX to put them back on. I don't always use brow gel. Sometimes I use just pencils. Sometimes I use the like tinted mascara wand kind of brow stuff, and I like that a lot. I probably like that the most. But this way is kind of my lazy every way day of doing it because it only requires one product and one brush to do it. I also really like Anastasia's Brow Wiz that is kind of new. That's a really fast way to do my brows. But I imagine a lot of you do not need to know how to do brows the same way that I do mine because most of you have hair already and you don't have to fill them in from scratch. So my advice for what I would say for people with brow hairs to start is a little different than the advice I'd give for someone in my situation. It is very hard to get a natural looking brow when you've got none to start with. A lot of people ask me why I don't tint my brows or dye them, and the answer to that is I have in the past, but I've found that it washes off so quickly the way that hair dye washes out of your hair, because I'm washing my face every day, and especially because I'm doing makeup looks so often, I am even more harsh on my face, I think, than usual, because I'm taking off really intense makeup sometimes, like latex, and I need to really scrub my face. I find that the tinted brow stuff just does not last long for me, and I end up filling it in very soon after getting them tinted anyway, which kind of defeats the purpose, you know what I'm saying? So I'd rather just draw them on and do whatever I want with them from time to time. It's nice because when the brow trends change, I can change with it, and I don't have to worry about going through the pain of plucking or anything crazy like that. I do shave off the tail end of my brows, so I only have visible hairs in the front. By visible, I don't really mean visible, but I only have hairs in the front. I shave off the tail end because mine arches really low in the tail end, and I like drawing mine up higher because I feel like it lifts the face to have the tail end drawn higher than mine naturally exists. As you can see here, I am making my brows really strange looking. I was struggling with this today. It was one of those days where like one was way higher than the other and bigger than the other. My brows are naturally uneven. My right one is naturally lower than the left. So when I just follow the actual hairs of my brows, I always end up with uneven brows. And I have to kind of like reel myself in and compensate by cheating one a little high and cheating the other a little bit low. But today I missed the mark on that one. So you'll see me wiping a lot of it off with my fingers because for the first half of this look, I was too lazy to get up and go find my makeup wipes. And that's accurate to everyday because I'm usually in a rush when I'm doing my everyday makeup, and I will do whatever means necessary to avoid doing the thing that is less lazy. But in turn, I waste more time doing the lazy method of correction, like what you're seeing me do here right now, just wiping my brow off with my hand. This probably takes longer to fix than it would have to just get up and go get makeup wipes, but why would I make things easy on myself? That's just silly. Anyway, while I fix my brow, what can I tell you guys? Because that's what you guys do in Get Ready With Me videos, right? You watch people just talk about their life and their day and things. I went to a wedding this weekend. That was really exciting. I was in Lido, California. I still don't know how to say the word. No, it wasn't, see? I wasn't even close. Lodi? I mixed the vowels around. Lodi? It's this little tiny town, an hour and a half outside of San Francisco. And I watched my friends get married, and it was really cool. And we had to find a puppy sitter last minute for Ripley, which was really intense because I was up until like 6 a.m. messaging doggy people in this tiny-ass town. But we eventually found her, a little sitter, and she was great. And she played all weekend with a Jack Russell, and we danced the night away. I danced a lot like Sleeping Beauty at the club in my last video, but real-life Mikey style, and I'm still sore from all the dancing that I did. And then we drove back the 6 hours yesterday, and we watched Game of Thrones, of course, season finale. I'm not going to spoil anything, so don't click away. That was awesome, though, and I haven't watched Game of Thrones at all until this year in order to catch up, particularly for this season. And I'm so glad that I did because I hated the first 3 seasons. Again, I'm not going to spoil anything. Calm down if you haven't seen it. But, yeah, I'm really glad that I caught up and that I forced myself to watch it long enough to like it because I was so not interested for 3 whole seasons, and then all of a sudden I was like, okay, I'm with this show. I also finished Orange is the New Black today, and damn was that a season. Again, not going to spoil anything. Don't want to make anyone feel like they need to leave. I hate spoilers, and I would never want to accidentally or intentionally give away anything. But both seasons of both shows have been great. Breaking Bad will always be my favorite show, though. Yo, bitch. Okay, anyway. I'm still doing my eyebrows. Let's speed this up a little bit, shall we? Okay, so I finally got up and got some damn makeup wipes. I didn't end up needing them at all for the rest of the tutorial, but I got them at least, okay? I made the effort. Now I am taking a black shadow and I'm filling my brows in with that because I couldn't find any black brow gel, and even though my wig is not black, it's also not a light warm brown like the eyebrow gel that I used, so it didn't quite match. And that stuff drives me insane. This is not spoilers, but Laura Preppon's character, Prepon? How do you say her name? Prepon food to cook, to eat. Okay. That 70s show girl, Alex Voss, her character has pitch black hair. In this season, it was like a blue-black even. And her eyebrows are always a really light brown. And I personally do not like when people with really dark hair go so much lighter with their brows. I feel like black hair with black brows is so stunning on every skin tone, and I don't know why anyone wouldn't want to rock that. To each their own, of course. But personally, if I'm wearing dark hair, I want to have my brows darker. So, taking the extra time today to fill that in, despite losing all my black, brown, black, dark brow gel. Whatever. It's really hard to just talk unedited. I'm sure there will still be edits in this voiceover regardless because I'm just a mess sometimes and I'm probably not going to say anything that entertains any of you, but this is a Get Ready With Me and I will get better at them with time. I just got to figure out what I want to say to you all in so much time. This is not something that I do every day. In fact, I don't do it most days at all, but I was having such a struggly brow day that I felt it necessary. They were still uneven after all this back and forth. So I tried to clean them up with concealer. Granted, it was very bright out on the balcony, so I couldn't see as well as I would have liked to, and as well as I usually can see for my everyday makeup. But I tried to clean it up with some concealer on a little concealer brush. to even them out, because one was still a little fuller than the other. A lot of people tell me that because I have invisible brows, I should rock the no brow look, and I've tried it, but every time I try it and I like it, I only like it for about 5 minutes, and then I really feel like I need something that balances out my face. I think that some people look really, really good with no brows. Amy from Sugar Pill looks bomb without brows. Yolandi from Diane Wood is amazing and so cute, and she looks so good without brows. But I think that maybe the difference there is overall style, and I think they have smaller foreheads than I do. Mine is just huge, and if I don't have brows to kind of fill in all that real estate, it just draws attention to the giant pea brain sitting inside of my cranium, I think. So I really like eyebrows personally, even though I could go without them any given day. Plus, you add in the fact that I'm super, super pale, and my lashes are also blonde, and I generally kind of look like an albino cancer patient. If I'm out and about, I definitely get stared at if I'm not wearing makeup. So, not that that changes how I feel about myself. I like that I've got kind of like a blank canvas for anything, but it's not nice to get stared at for any reason, really, unless it's, I guess, a good reason, and I would imagine those stares are not usually the good ones. So I usually just throw on eyebrows anyway, for my sake, for everyone else's sake, and you should just do what makes you happy in makeup. If you've got really, really dark brows and everyone tells you that they're amazing and you should rock them and you hate them, like I would say that to someone with super dark, thick brows. I would love Cara Delevingne eyebrows. But if you had them and you hated them, but everyone says that you should like them, that doesn't mean that you should. You should do whatever makes you most comfortable and do it for yourself before anyone else. Sometimes what makes you most comfortable has something to do with others' opinions, but it's like we're getting real deep here, maybe too deep for a makeup tutorial. In any case, you should wear the kind of makeup that makes you happy first and foremost, and makes you feel comfortable with yourself, and makes you feel artistic or unique or whatever adjective you want to be. I'm doing my eyeliner here. It's a cat eye, like it is every day. Whenever I try to not do a cat eye, I end up turning it into a cat eye because I just like the swoop up. I've been telling Chase while we were watching Orange is the New Black that the cat eye liner in that show drives me a little bit crazy. I know that they're supposed to be, I guess, a little bit more basic with their makeup because they're limited to their access of liners, but the way that they're just like sticks that point up drives me crazy. Again, if it makes you happy, you do it. But Red's eyeliner drives me a little crazy. I don't remember her name, but she's the one that's driving the bus right now. She's got some crazy stick eyeliner, and I like those big, thick cat eye. The liner looks like Alex Voss's character. Super sexy. I'm using purples today. As you can probably already tell, I'm using this color, like a somewhat light, bright lavender lilac-y color on a fluffy brush in the crease area, and I'm attaching it to the winged eyeliner. I did the eyeliner first because I find that if I do it before my eyeliner, as of late, I always round the crease shape too much. And if I do it after the eyeliner, I swoop it out so that it's kind of got that teardrop shape coming off of it. And I feel like it just has a better shape to it when I do the second. I always have to fill in the eyeliner again after because it gets all messed up when you're putting shadows on top of it, obviously. But I've been liking that method lately. So if you have trouble following like a crease that is not your actual crease for your creased makeup look, this is maybe a way to do it. And I'm just blending that out all over. Please excuse my super chapped lips. If you don't already know, they are always chapped because that is a lasting side effect of Accutane, which I was on when I was 15 years old. It is a sad, sad reality, but I do love lip scrubs. They've been helping a lot lately. I did not do one today, and it's obvious, but then I am taking a medium purple. It's in the same family, like the same hue family of the first purple, but it's a little bit richer, darker, and I'm keeping that to a more limited area as the first purple. So basically just not blending quite as high, but filling up a lot of the same space. This is just a really basic way to do transitional colors into a deeper color. I prefer using matte shadows for this kind of a look. I feel like it doesn't look as smooth with shimmer shadows. It doesn't blend as smooth with shimmery shadows that have mica in them, but you can do it with shimmer or matte. Just prefer matte. I'm getting my actual lid a little dirty because the brush is so fluffy that it's just hitting the lid, but that doesn't matter too much because I like to go back in later with concealer or a primer. See, I'm doing it right now. On a little concealer brush, and I just kind of pat it out with whatever concealer I already had on my brush from when I did my brows, and it's a very easy way to clean up a crease. You can do a really defined cut crease that way. I do it in my Frozen Elsa tutorial if you want to take a look at that. I do it in the... No, wait, not Frozen Elsa? Yeah, I think Frozen Elsa. Also the Barbie tutorial. I do that. But you can also do like a soft defined cut crease this way, and it's so fast and it's so easy, and it means that you can blend out the colors in the crease a lot better without having to worry about blending it out only above and getting a super straight line below. That's just my opinion, but that's what I found works best for me. If you find that it's a little difficult to do that method, I would suggest doing what I'm doing here, which is I very lightly pull down on my actual lashes to really get close to that crease. If your eyes aren't very, like deep, you might not need to do that, but if your eyes are particularly hooded or they're just pretty inset, then that might help you. Then lastly, I'm taking for the eyes a really deep, dark, purpley plum eyeshadow, matte still, on a pencil brush, and I'm trying to keep that in the smallest area now that we've been working in. I'm also not going too far into the crease, like with the other two colors. I've gone about 3/4 of the way into the crease, and this one I'm sticking around the halfway mark, concentrating it mostly on the very outer corner that attaches to that winged part of the eyeliner. So overall, the look should be getting increasingly dark as it moves towards the edge of your winged liner. That way it kind of draws the eye outward when someone's looking at your face. This is a pretty basic look. I mean, it's been done a million times. It's a very standard kind of beauty cut crease look, but hopefully the way I'm describing some of this and the way that you're seeing me do it helps you approach some of it in a new way if you've been struggling with any part of it. And if not, then hello, we're just hanging out, I guess, and you're doing your makeup maybe, and I'm doing my makeup maybe. Maybe you're making mac and cheese. I don't know. That's what I do when I watch YouTube videos. I just kind of put them on and I do all the other stuff for the day, unless I need to hear. Then I'm alone in the silence. So dramatic. I'm blending this out too, just a little bit more with that initial fluffy brush that I was using. It's got a little bit of product left on it. I also eventually use a clean fluffy brush to do some more blending work. But with any of these kinds of makeup looks, I've just kind of found that it's pretty rare to blend everything out perfectly the first time, just like step by step by step laying the colors out. A lot of it is a back and forth with having enough of the dark color and needing to take some away or blend it out more, and then you've gotten rid of too much of it, so you need to put some of the dark back in, but then you gotta blend again. It's not a bad thing to have to go back and forth and do those things. So even though a lot of tutorials kind of sum it up really quickly and skim over that back and forth, don't feel like you're doing something wrong if it takes some time to blend these things out, because you know, the fact of the matter is that a lot of good blending will come down to the brushes that you're using, the consistency and the softness of the eyeshadows that you're using, the blendability of the actual product, but some of it comes down to just patience and time and technique, and a lot of that's just figured out through practice and trial and error. So never be afraid to blend until your eyes are bleeding. Wait, what? And I'm not sure what I'm doing with this black fluffy brush, but my guess is that I put a little more of that oh yeah, that's what I did. I put the very, very lightest purple back on my brush a tiny bit, and I'm using that to sweep all over the overall look again, just to kind of make it a little more cohesive. You'll see that it's looking kind of messy right now, but again, this is a process that gets worked up to, and it's getting there, and it comes together by the end. I also went back in with the medium shade purple on the black fluffy brush to sweep overall again, to just kind of do the cohesive thing, and one more time with the plum on the pencil brush to really darken the very most outer corners as kind of my final go-through of the colors. So now I am doing my final touch-up of cleaning up the crease with some concealer on a concealer brush or a flat synthetic brush. I'm pulling down on my lashes again to really be able to get into the crease and see the crease very clearly, and I'm lightly sweeping it so that it's not super harsh and there's not a lot of product on my brush. I haven't put any more concealer on it still since I cleaned up my brows with it. So again, this is just a very light amount of product, and I'm doing more of a softer defined cut crease here, not a super sharp one. I'm going to also eventually go into the crease area again with the fluffy brush that had a little bit of product left on it, and I'm going to very quickly sweep that in the crease just to blend out the little tiny, like divots that came off of that brush. See, I'm doing that now. Just sweeping it in there, and it softens that concealer a tiny bit, just enough so that it's not super sharp anymore and it doesn't have any little ridges if you can't get your skin completely smooth. I am not old, I'm only 26, and I hope to live to be very, very old and wrinkly, but I've noticed already, just even being 26, that my eyes are more droopy than they used to be, and I'm starting to get fine lines around my eyes, and the skin is not nearly as taut as it used to be. Definitely not a negative thing. Like I said, I think getting older is an awesome thing. I'm happy to be able to say that I get to do that, but it has made doing makeup a little bit more difficult than it was in the past decade of my life. So you need to do what you need to do to get your skin taut enough to work with it. Never pull your skin hard because you don't want to create more wrinkles that way, but it is okay, I think, to pull back a little bit just so that you get that tension that you need to get smooth lines in whatever place that you're working. I'm tight lining the outer lower corner of my eye just a little bit because I feel like it helps that cat eye shape a little more. And then I'm going to add mascara. To be quite honest, I don't care at all about mascara. I used to be all about that life. Lancome Virtuoso was my shit, and I felt like it did wonders for my lashes, and then for some reason my eyelashes just got really short as I got older, and now I depend on these beautiful lashes, the falsies, all day, every day, and it's kind of one of those things where once you get used to wearing false lashes, you never want to go back because your eyelashes always seem short to you after. So if you don't wear them yet, maybe don't start, because it's also kind of like hair extensions. If you want long hair, once you start wearing extensions, you never feel right without them, because it's such an easy way to get the length that you're looking for. All that fake hair stuff. It doesn't bother me because I enjoy doing makeup, so any extra step that I get to do, like lashes, genuinely makes me happy, and I like feeling like I've got these big, crazy, dramatic lashes. These are Natalie from Flutter Lashes. They're my new favorites because they're kind of wispy, but they're also really dramatic, so they're a really nice mix of the two. When I put my lashes on, I have a whole video on how to apply lashes, but this is, I think, easily the best tip for anyone who's been having trouble applying their lashes, is to really wait a long time before you sit them on your lash line, because the tackier they are, the less they slide around once they're down there. You can curve them so that they really stay right away, and then boom, it's done. No fiddling with it. No really messy glue eye. I can't tell you how many times I learned this the hard way and got glue in my eyeball, which luckily has always worked out. And I think that they're kind of made knowing that people will do that, but it's still unpleasant. Still want to avoid it if you can. Waiting for the glue to be almost nearly dry is the easiest way, I think, to apply lashes. And then here I'm just drawing over that actual falsy lash line with my black liquid liner again, just because sometimes the glue doesn't dry in every single spot, or I'll get my little pasty white foundation-y fingers on my lashes as I'm applying them and you can still see it, and I really like that dark, seamless kind of line as much as you can possibly get it. This is Jeffree Star's liquid lipstick in Scorpio. I happen to be a Scorpio, but I thought that this color would be best for this look since we're doing a purple theme and this is like a very muted purple. It looks a lot more purple in the video, but in person it's kind of like, it's kind of subtle. Like from far away you might not realize I'm wearing a purple lipstick. You might just think it's like a mauve-y, almost natural color. But I really like it. I think that it's a nice in-between if you're not used to wearing color on your lips, to start out with something like this, instead of jumping straight into like a bright orange or red, or something kind of quote-unquote weird, like a brown. A lot of people don't like wearing dark brown lipstick. I think it's one of my favorite colors ever, but yes, there are ways to slowly transition into colors. I'm also lining my lips slightly too high in the very outer corner of the top lip. You've seen me do this in one of my 1-minute tutorials. It's how to do like that pointed, super dramatic Harley Quinn lip, and I do that almost every day, just to a very, very subtle degree compared to that, because it makes the mouth look wider than it is without actually overlining the top where people look for where you're overlining it, and I think that it gives the mouth like a really sexy, pouty kind of shape. But this might not apply to you if your mouth is already pretty wide and you already like its width. It might not apply to you if you want to create more height in your lips as opposed to width. So with a lot of the contour kind of tricks, because I would consider this is kind of like a contour trick, it changes what you think the shape of something is. With any of those kinds of tricks, it's very dependent on what you think about your face, what you'd like to alter, how you'd like to trick the eye to see something different. So what works for one person contour-wise will not necessarily work for you or not be something that you want to accentuate or diminish. Keep that in mind. But this is what I do in my everyday makeup. Then I'm doing I would say a quick contour job. This is not usually how I do my contour. I usually use a much more dense, angled kind of kabuki brush, but I've been having problems with it lately, picking up all the grays in my powders. Even though I've cleaned it a bunch of times, it's still pulling gray. So I'm using just like a regular fluffy powder brush here to put on a warmer contour color, since when I'm really, really pale, I can get away with a more gray, muted brown contour color, like a very cool brown. But when I have even a tiny bit of self-tanner on like I do now, the grayer contours show up really gray on me. So now I understand why the average contour color is way too orange for pale people, but it makes perfect sense for people with warmer complexions. I always highlight my forehead because, you know, it's really big. So make sure you get in under that wig if you're rocking the wig, and you also contour your forehead. And then I'm putting some contour under my nose, but this is that trouble brush I was telling you about that I was using. It picks up so much product and it usually turns out looking really gray, so I had to fix that quickly. And then I'm putting blush on my cheeks. As you can see, blush is starting to grow on me, you guys. I know that you know that I hate it, but if I hide it like in the very back corners of my face in the contour areas, I can kind of get away with it. I can kind of live with it. It helps me look a little less ghostly sometimes if I don't feel like looking ghostly, and that's nice, I guess. Then I'm taking this really little dense fluffy brush. This is my favorite brush to use highlighter. It's a Luxie brush, I believe, and it's called a large fluff brush. I think it's number 733, don't quote me on that. And I'm using an Anastasia Glow Kit in Gleam, and I'm using the lightest, I'm basically using the whole kit except for the darkest color. I mix the pinkish highlight, the white highlight, and the tan highlight when I've got a little bit of self-tanner on, because if I use just the white pearly highlight, then it turns out too gray when I've got self-tanner on, and when I'm pale, it's the perfect highlight. So a lot of makeup advice also varies on your skin tone, because what works for one person will not work for all. For example, the little like viral trick that was going around, using red lipstick under your eyes to prevent dark eye bags. That doesn't work for every skin tone. It works really good for medium to deep skin tones. It does not work very well for very light to medium skin tones. So, you know, that's why it's helpful to get the opinion of a professional that is in your area if you're unsure about anything, because something that you might feel like you've been having problems with, you don't really have a problem with, you just need to get it specified and tailored to you. So that is the whole look. I hope that some of this was useful. I know that it's kind of just like serious talking stuff. It's not as organized as the usual, but I think that's the gist of what you guys told me a Get Ready With Me video is on Twitter. I was asking you guys. I've never watched a Get Ready With Me video before, so I'm just kind of winging it to do what seemed natural at the time. To do something a little bit more casual, I wanted to experiment with a different kind of video. I could put out more videos probably if I did more like this. so I wanted to, like I said, test it out. So thanks for hanging in there. Sorry that this is a voiceover get ready with me. I'm going to film in a quieter location next time so that it's a little more organic and you're hearing what I'm actually saying on the video and not watching me talk right now about something totally different while I'm in the voiceover. But yeah, so that's what we got going on. This is, like I said, my everyday look except with color. I would usually do this but with browns and tans and a little bit of black sometimes. Let me know down in the comments if you'd like to hear me talk about particular things in different Get Ready With Me's, if there's a certain kind of Get Ready With Me you'd like to see, if there's just anything that's screaming out to you that you think would be cool to do with this kind of a setup for a more casual, one-on-one kind of video. Thanks for letting me try something new, you guys, and I will see you very soon for the next video. Arrivederci.